Court will come to order. It is Monday, March 11th, 2024, 9 o'clock in the morning, and the Kerr County Commissioners Court is now in session. If you would, please rise and join me in prayer and pledge. Pray with me. Good and gracious God, we give you thanks for all of our blessings, and especially the rain. We ask that you be present with us here today and renew our hearts and minds, that we may rededicate ourselves to serve your people. We ask that you give us strength and wisdom, understanding, and compassion, that we may serve all your citizens here in Kerr County. We pray this in your name. Amen. 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 Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. First item of business. Those of you that carry your phone around like I do, please turn it to vibrate or off so that it does not disrupt the proceeding. And as every regular Commissioners Court meeting we have, we begin with, it is our tradition to begin with input from the public. And this is our opportunity to hear what the people have to say to us. Unfortunately, it does not provide output, so we don't get to answer whatever you want to tell us. It gives us the opportunity to be aware of it and have the opportunity to address it. So with that, I'm going to call it. We've got one person that's signed up for public input, and that's George Baruti.
George Baruti, 1616 Glen Road. Yeah, we've been up here to speak before and don't need answers, but I'm guessing everybody paid attention to the election, and so I just wanted to come in and recap a little bit of what a Precinct 1 voter saw in that, and anything I say may or may not come out wrong, but this overbe, nothing of what I say has anything to do with or even that. It's really all about the judge, of course, right? We hope in your prayer you ask to rededicate to the service of the people, and I would hope that you take that to heart. As Precinct 1 voters clearly stated, my judgment of it, that they were not appreciating your stance on their previous vote, nor do they expect that you will do the same thing again. Ideally, you'll stay in your lane. Okay? Your lane is not Precinct 1. It's not actually 2, 3, or 4. It's the judge's duties, which don't involve seeking out ways to remove public officials or knowing full well you'll be the one appointing the vacant spot that comes open. The voters greatly saw through all that and have reestablished their right to vote for their candidate. I'm hoping that we don't have to come out and do it again in order to have that stand for the full term of what it is that they're elected to do. Like I said, I just reiterate, please just stay in your lane. If you feel the need to remove another public official or even seek out a way to do that, let us know what you found out, because the next one might be the one you're sitting in. So please just listen to the voters as they've spoken and stay in your lane. Thank you.
Any other public input? With that, we'll move on to Commissioners' comments. Precinct 1.
Pretty quiet. I got half-inch rain last Friday.
All good.
Yeah.
Precinct 2.
I've got a little bit more to say. So starting with the burn ban remains lifted for Precinct 2. Again, we are in drought stage 3. October's not looking very good. We need a heck of a lot more rain to turn that around. I want to congratulate all the winners of last Tuesday's primary elections from both parties. We had a strong turnout, perhaps driven by the fact that we had some really excellent candidates. So I congratulate Lynette Weddick, who was elected Democrat County Chair, and Helen Hurd, who was elected Republican County Chair. I understand that Helen is going to be taking office a little bit sooner, since the previous County Chair, Paul Zolan, resigned last Thursday. But I especially want to congratulate my view, Commissioner-elect Precinct 1, Tom Jones, sorry. And Commissioner-elect Precinct 3, Jeff Holt, for their impressive wins. Both of these highly qualified candidates worked really hard, and just shows what hard work outpays dividends. So I look forward to their leadership when they join this court. I do want to point out that we had one voting equipment failure on election day. The ballot scanner in precinct 312 failed and was unable to scan the paper ballots that were provided by Hart Intercivic. As a result, the election judge told voters that they had to use the DRE touchscreen machines to cast their votes. This was clearly the wrong solution. The right solution would have been simply to place the marked paper ballots in another ballot box for later tabulation via another scanner or by hand count. However, our county clerk, Ian Cullen, responded quickly to the problem and was able to resolve the issue. So thank you, Ian. Look, to ensure voter confidence, I think voters should always have the ability to use a paper ballot. And the use of the DRE touchscreen voting machines should only be offered if requested. Now, in other election news, I'm happy to report that the Republican Party of Gillespie County successfully hand-counted their ballots, approximately 8,000. They were delayed by their county elections administrator and probably lost about 3 to 4 hours on the front end of that, which delayed their overall reporting, but they all got it done well within the time frame allowed under the election code. All right, moving on. Centerpoint Sewer Project. Basically, we got a couple reports from D. Guerrera trying to justify why they had so many delays in phase 2 and 3, so we'll be reviewing that and no doubt meeting with them here shortly and trying to negotiate on the liquidated damages. I just want to inform the public that I will be holding 2 town hall meetings on what's going on in the county, specifically Precinct 2. There will be some broader topics of interest for residents in other precincts, so all are welcome to attend. The first meeting is on March 19th, 6 p.m. at the Centerpoint Elementary School cafeteria, and the second town hall meeting will be held on March 26th, 6 p.m. at the Hosanna Lutheran Church. You can see details and the actual agendas either on my website, richpaces.com, or my Facebook page. That's it.
That's a lot of activity for precinct
Yes, sir.
2.
Precinct 3?
Be a lot shorter. This is the spring break week. Hope everyone who's planning to go out on spring break have a good, safe trip. I know I'll be out of town part of the time. I know the town attorney's gonna be out of town part of the time. So does everyone have a good time, and hope we get some rain this week. Last eastern part of the county got very little last time. Hopefully we get a little bit more this weekend.
All right. One of our appointees to the appraisal board, Larry Creo, brought something to my attention, and there's a agricultural use questionnaire that goes out to landowners, and he feels like it's kind of, sometimes people don't know exactly how to fill it out or got questions, and so him and I decided to put on a town hall / workshop at the end of this month and I'll put it on the next agenda and everything. But so if you're out there and listening, pump the brakes if you have questions about this questionnaire, and we'll have one evening at the end of this month. We will have a workshop for that, and we'll get it out to the news media, and I'm sure Lisa will do a press release on it so you can get it filled out properly and not have questions. And also another thing, I see that we first got our first rabies case. A skunk was got the other day, so it is the season. Watch out for funny acting animals, okay? As
More in Kendall County, I heard on the radio.
yeah, I've heard some others had multiple. Well, those rabies shots aren't fun. I got them when I was 7 years old, so be careful. That's it.
At the county level, since I do represent all 4 precincts, I did declare a declaration of disaster a couple of weeks ago at the specific request of Governor Abbott and Jim Kidd with Cheatham. that if we did not do that, we would not be put in a priority position on the list of services for the eclipse. And so I assure everybody that there's nothing to be afraid about now, but we're going to have a very crowded situation, and it's going to be difficult, and there will be short tempers. And if we need outside help, we wanted to be higher on that list to have a priority position. That was the reason I did that. And then this morning, we had assigned Commissioner Overby to investigate 2 mass gathering event permit request applications, and we had 2 evidentiary hearings. And for those of you that don't know, there can be a gathering of more than 5,000 people. We have to have a mass gathering permit request, and it has to have an evidentiary hearing, which we had. And I think it was an new experience for you. But there will be the Easter Fest event on March the 30th. We've approved that one. And also the Kerr Clips. There's really, we had a clever word for it. Kerr Clips, which is Kerrville Folk Festival, folks, is approved, and that's going to be for the day of the eclipse, which is the 8th, and the day after, and 2 days before. And they're trying to get their people in early to relieve some of that traffic congestion. And for anyone thinking about traveling to Kerr County, wherever you are on YouTube, buy your supplies, buy your water, buy your gas before you get here, because we're pretty sure we're going to run out. So if you can bring it with you, it'd be a whole lot better. That's all I have.
May I ask a question?
Go to the podium.
Bill Fitch, City. Just, will there be any kind of a way, and maybe he's the one that ought to answer this question, for traffic monitoring? So that, because frankly, I've got people, a brother coming in town, and I want to know if he's going to be able to get in and what his routing should be.
We've been working on that for over a year, Bill.
Yep.
And Doug Thomas sitting right behind you knows all about it. When I had Deb Rouse in here from White Valley Ranch, she's the executive director for Kerrville Folk Festival. They've been working on it for over a year and practicing moving the traffic. There will be one-way streets. Some of the streets that are currently two-way will be made one-way so that we can move traffic. And there will be a great deal of monitoring traffic, trying to keep it going, because our concern is that people are just going to stop. And once one stops, then it creates a chain reaction. And so we're trying to keep it moving. And so, yes, we're very actively involved in that.
Will there be a radio station or something that says I-10 is backed up or?
We need an agenda item.
Yeah, we need an agenda item to talk about it, but the man standing up before you right now is a wealth of knowledge about what all you've
We
done.
can't talk about it.
But you can't talk about it right now because it's not on the agenda.
Got a lot, got a little update.
You have item 1.6, if you want to call that, y'all can engage in conversation related to the disaster.
Let's do that. Let's just go ahead and call item 1.6 first. I know you've got somebody who wants to speak on that.
Looks like it's done.
Let's get, Gary, I saw you on Gary Wolf.
Yes.
Did you call?
Jerry
Oh,
Wolf, I will not.
let me read 1.6,
Yes,
and
sir.
then you can talk. 1.6 is to consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to extend the declaration of local state of disaster relating to the April 8, 2024 solar eclipse and authorize the county judge to sign same. Now, by way of explanation before you start your comments, I can only issue a disaster declaration. My emergency powers are for 7 days. And that's what we did to get us to today. And at that point, the court, the full court, can extend it. And if they don't extend it, it goes away. That's all. That's the only power I have.
And when we extend it, it can be for how long?
I think until you rescind it.
That's right.
That's what we did with COVID, if you remember.
Right. I just want to make
Now,
sure.
we got weekly COVID reports, but we
Yes.
didn't have to redo the disaster
Exactly.
declaration until the end when we were ready to get rid of it. So, Jerry.
Well, I guess a little bit more into the mechanics and things that are going to be going on with the eclipse. Is the city able to receive funding as part of this disaster request, disaster funding request?
I'm sorry, your question's
Is
upon
it city?
The city of Kerrville,
able to what?
Receive funds.
will they be receiving funds as part of this disaster relief?
I really don't know. They hadn't told us. I don't know.
I don't think there's any funds out there. There's no funding coming under the disaster.
Oh, okay,
declaration.
okay.
It's just assistance.
Let me tell you, I got a email from the president of HOA over the weekend, and there's a board meeting tomorrow, which I intend to be there and find out more. But in this email, our HOA president stated that the city, she used the term city, although we are in the extraterritorial jurisdiction of Kerrville, we're just outside. I'm a county resident. We're just outside the city limits of Kerrville. Anyway, that the city had informed her that there would be many backpackers and people living in tents, and that calls for violation of property rights, in other words, these people will come in and squat on private property, that those calls will not be answered by the city police department. And also, they were asking for people that live within the subdivision, if you have a landline, to let her know, and she'll distribute a list later, and distribute to everyone in the subdivision, which to me implies, obviously, that the cell towers are going to be totally saturated. And I guess the problem I'm having with all this is, how come none of us have been informed of this? How come a public official, in practice, for all intents and purposes, the city, I went to the city's website yesterday morning, and the first thing that's on that website is the city of Kerrville welcomes you to come to Kerrville to attend the eclipse, celebrate the eclipse. And they're selling parking places at Tybee Stadium and at the baseball and soccer complex on Holsworth for $75 to $100 a parking place for the eclipse. There's some sort of disconnect here to me in common sense of what's going on. So anyway, that's my comment. I wanted to inform everyone that there seem to be going two different directions here.
Thank you, Jared. Just by way of clarification, we are not the city.
I understand that.
And number two, I'm called up to the podium because Doug Thomas has been working on this really tirelessly for over a year. So I'll let you address the concerns.
All right, so there's a lot of questions about traffic plans. The city and county have both been working together for.
And textile.
I'm sorry?
And textile.
In textile. A lot of the players that you see in here, the sheriff's department, the police department, inner police department, constables, we're all working together, volunteer fire departments, for a traffic plan. The traffic plan for the county is not finalized. We're having probably our final meeting next Wednesday. We're going to go over what we have for the traffic plan at that time. We're going to see if we need to make any changes based on what the city's done. And from then, at some point, we will publish or put out that traffic plan so local folks will know what the issues are going to be if they decide to travel around through town.
And would you clarify some of the additional services that we want to be on standby with Keaton to receive? That's why we did this.
So that disaster declaration, what that does is open us up for to request resources through a state of Texas assistance request, STAR request, that goes straight to the SOX, the State Operations Center, for resources that we may not have here or that we need available in the event that that we need them. So. Yes.
Can you give some examples? I think that would help everybody.
Yeah, so I've already requested some pallets of water for us to carry around in our patrol cars if folks get stuck and traffic gets backed up and they can't move. And I'm requesting 500 gallons of diesel, 500 gallons of gasoline for the same purpose. I think the city or the EMS fire chief direct is going to request medical assets, probably 2 ambulance strike teams, maybe a medical incident support team, some of those type of assets that we don't have here. To be able to have them in place, the request, I felt like
We'll be calling them into Kerr County. They're not.
Yes, sir. I would like to have those here, pre-positioned here. That way we can deploy them rather than trying to wait on them to get here. And either they can't get here or all resources have all been used up.
And at some point, we'll have our traffic plan, like I said, published for local folks to see, so they'll be able to plan their travel. The thing is, we've been talking about this for 2 years, and we've been telling everybody cell phone service is probably not going to work very well. You'll need to go to the grocery store, go get your fuel, prescriptions, pet supplies, all that stuff. I'd start about 2 weeks in advance. Walmart, HEB, all the fuel distributors here in town are going to be increasing their deliveries. So I don't think we'll have an issue. We just hope that the folks that come down here that are here to visit will bring a lot of their own supplies.
Thank you.
Let me give a little bit more to this, just for the public. I've been the liaison to the eclipse planning. So we're expecting close to 150,000 visitors descending on Kerr County. And for the most part, all the hotels, campgrounds, everything's booked up. The good news is most of those bookings are like a 4-day minimum. So you won't necessarily have everybody descending on April 8th for the day of the eclipse. But there is no doubt that that day will be the worst. And most of the traffic plan deals with April 8th, particularly getting people out of town. Because you know how it is after a football game or something, as soon as it's over, people are done, they've had enough, they want to get home. We will have gridlock Monday afternoon. So again, if you can avoid being on the roads, Monday in particular, please do. Let's see, yeah, again, self-service is going to be overloaded, so expect that to be blacked out. We will have 8 ambulances, which is twice our normal for the county, all coordinated through Kerr. And there'll be additional support and comfort. They've got 5 down there. The real problem is whether they can get anywhere on Monday because of the gridlock. But they'll have the best opportunity. So if nothing else, avoid any risky activities, particularly on Monday.
Rich, I assume they will be spread out across the county.
They will be spread out.
Maybe the
And the other thing they will
VFDs
have,
or something,
not
possibly.
necessarily at the VFDs,
Okay.
but they will be spread out. All right. The other thing is we have 4 public safety sites for minor medical service. That'll be at the Hill Country Youth Event Center, and then 3 churches, City West Church, Kerrville Bible Church, and Kerrville First United Methodist Church. So if you have a minor injury or need treatment, head there. Okay, let's see. You know, look, all critical medical needs will be taken to Peterson Regional Hospital. You know, they're on standby. They're eliminating any kind of discretionary services. So they're going to be equipped to handle any kind of medical emergency. And of course, we still have the air flight that will take people to San Antonio, I believe the University Hospital, and they're trying to get another helicopter. They'll correct me if I'm wrong there, but so far,
Yes,
we only have
they're
one.
still trying to get away.
Yeah. Now, Hill Country Telephone has remote cell service available, but it's for first responders. So they're going to have a bunch of hotspots across the county where at least emergency internet calls can be made, but the public won't have access to that. So if you have an emergency and can't call for help, try to get to one of our fire stations, VFD or otherwise. Everybody's got radios there, and we're on FirstNet. So that would be your best plan, and whatever's closest, whether it's one of those, what do I call them? Public safety sites, or any VFD, or any of the Kerrville fire stations. Let's see, and of course the VFDs will have working radios, FirstNet phones, and they are going to be equipped with AEDs and stop the bleed kits. So otherwise, I think we've covered all the other stuff. Avoid travel, especially on Monday.
Yeah, so we're going to have 4 staging sites for police, fire, and EMS scattered around, like Mr. Pace talked about, to allow us to better respond. Hopefully we won't have anything we have to respond to, but our VFDs all will be open. We've asked to man them. We're probably going to put a county first responder at each one of those. So they have a couple of volunteer firemen, county first responder, and the Hill Country Amateur Radio Club, our ham radio operators will be there as well. So a lot of moving parts.
So just ask the public to visualize for a minute. North-south is 16 in Sidney Baker, and it is our hope to be able to keep two-way traffic open on those thoroughfares. East-west would be Junction Highway and Holdsworth. You've got 173 head towards Bandera, 27 headed back towards Comfort. We're trying to keep those open. A lot of the feeder streets onto those major arterials may be closed or one way. And the purpose there is make them double back and try to keep those arterials moving and not shut down. All it takes-
One way, I don't think too many will be closed, but it'll be one way.
They'll be one way. But remember, when one vehicle stops for whatever reason, an accident, to look at a map, to make a call, it stops all the cars behind it, all the vehicles behind it. And that's why we've been working on this traffic plan so diligently. And yes, it's about ready to be publicized to the public. But trust me, there's been a lot of man hours to try to get this thing right. And we're concerned about I-10. Y'all may remember, I-10 closed for the first time in my lifetime in Winter Storm Uri. And it was not because of a wreck. It was because the freeway iced over and a tractor-trailer rig couldn't get over that hill going out west. And when one stopped, they all stopped behind it. And some of the truckers timed out on their hours. You know, they were regulated by federal government as to how many hours, and they just stopped right where they were. They said they're not moving because legally they're breaking the law. We don't want to see that happen again. That's why we're bringing in, trying to get all these resources to keep things moving. We don't want I-10 to close. We don't want Sidney Baker to close. We don't want Junction Highway to close. We don't want 16 or 173 to close. So the moral of the story is encourage people, trickle in early. That's the best thing for us. And as far as the day of the eclipse itself, if at all possible, find a way to stay overnight and leave the next morning. That is the best advice I can give anybody. Now, I don't know, have we talked about making 39 one way during the eclipse?
No, sir.
So we'll try to keep 39 open too. And by the way, I have gotten calls from volunteer fire departments' wives mad at me because their husbands are going to have to work on the day of the eclipse, manage traffic. That's our volunteers, and we appreciate their dedication. So, thank you, Doug.
Yes, sir.
Anything else?
The only other comment is, look, this is a short-lived event. It's not like Uri or something else. Yes, top off your fuel tanks, get your groceries, 4 or 5 days ahead of time, enough to get you through. But come Tuesday, things are gonna be close to normal, and Wednesday for sure. So you don't have to hoard, don't go rip everything off of the shelves in HEB or Walmart. This is a short-term event, and people are gonna quickly dissipate and leave.
And hopefully Friday's still a little bit more confidence. I look out here and see Jeff Holker, Commissioner Leonard. In the military, we had after-action assessments. And you have to talk about what went good and what went bad. We have talked to every other community that has had an eclipse event in preparation trying to put this plan together. This is not just pulling it out of thin air.
I have one follow-up question to this constituent's question about private property rights. And I don't know if the sheriff or somebody can answer. If somebody does have somebody that comes and camps out on their land, especially if they live in the county, they don't have anybody really to call, do they? Because they're going to be doing more important work.
Correct. They can call us. I mean, we're going to get to every call. I just can't tell you how quick we're going to get there, obviously. Is it going to be 150,000 people or is it going to be 500,000? That's what's going to control this. Yeah,
And
like media.
a little levity here. Don't pull a gun. You get a multi-property. My wife was teasing me. She says, "Do we need to go get more ammo?" I said, "No, not for shooting." But I told her we would lock the gate. But I mean, seriously, I can imagine the frustration if somebody is squatting on your property. You're going to want to get them off, and if they don't go, what we don't need is a violent confrontation out on the yard, because now we have something we have to respond to. Now we have an event. This is just something you're going to have to do the best we can. Negotiate with them to move them to where you can get them as best you can.
Just one other comment. At the airport, we're expecting a lot of traffic. I believe they're going to try to cap it at about 80 planes coming in. They're gonna close one of the smaller runway, or just a north-south runway, keep our main east-west runway open, and they're gonna use smaller runway for parking all the aircraft. But they are booking, people have time slots to get here because we don't have air traffic control or control tower here, so it's a little bit dangerous, but they're trying to give people actual slots when they can come in. And they're coordinating that best they can, and they're capping at 80, I think it's 80 aircraft, something like that. They're going to allow to come into the airport.
But it's important for the public to know that we've been putting attention to this for a long time, and we're ready. We can't promise you there's not going to be a gridlock, but we can promise you that we put every effort to try to keep things flowing right. So, now, with that, the action item before the court is I issued that disaster to try to get a priority position on people's list, waiting list.
I'll make a motion to extend the, or to, is it extend or? Extend the disaster declaration.
Until rescinded.
Until rescinded.
Second.
Better look. Until rescinded by this court.
Why don't we just set it to April 9th?
That's his call.
That's fine, I'll accept that amendment.
Y'all are gonna be here April 9th,
Yeah.
so you'll be able to assess it on April 9th.
I wouldn't want to do it on the 9th, I'll take it back. I'll do it on the 11th. Give it a couple of days.
Your motion?
Declaration to, until April 11th.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to extend the declaration of local state of disaster relating to the April 8th eclipse through April,
11th.
then March the 11th.
April 11th.
April 11th. Okay, got it right. April 11th. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you. Always welcome a lively discussion. Let's go back to item 1.1. Consider, discuss, and take appropriate action on a request to approve the resolution to raise awareness of Peter Center's Meals on Wheels initiative celebrating 52 years of Older Americans Active Nutrition Program. Brenda Thompson, you thought you were first up, didn't you?
Hey, that's okay. I will give you a little report because we support the county so much. This is what we're doing for Meals on Wheels. We are providing the week before 2 extra meals so that none of our drivers we're going to be closed on Monday. We're not going to be delivering meals on Monday or Tuesday. We even add Tuesday. So our drivers aren't coming in, our volunteers are not coming in to deliver. So we'll keep them off the road. And we're keeping our dining room, everybody at home. All of our seniors, we have 80 to 90 people every day coming for lunch. And so we're telling them that we're going to be closed on Monday. We'll be open for Tuesday just in case they need meals. But we're trying to do our part to help make sure that our seniors are staying safe too. So
we appreciate the cooperation.
yeah. Well, Doug, we worked with Doug in the very beginning, and in the very beginning I thought, oh, this will be fun. We'll have our seniors, we'll have a party on the back patio, we'll have hot dogs. No, we're not doing that. Yeah, in the very beginning we kind of thought that would be fun, but not anymore. So anyway, we appreciate everything the county does to help us with our funding. We have to have some matching grant money through our TDA, Texas Department of Agriculture. Meals on Wheels, this month is March for Meals Month, and to bring awareness to the program. We delivered last year over 67,000 meals in Kerr County, and we have about 200 volunteers that did over 21,000 hours of service for our community. So not only are we providing great food, but we're providing a visit, a home check on our seniors and our homebound seniors. So we appreciate the help and everything that we get from the county and the resources that we have to help. We are doing March for Meals Champions Week next week. So if you haven't signed up yet and would like to, just to do something different than eclipse related stuff, and you want to come and do a ride along with us, we certainly welcome any of you to come sign up for a ride-along. I know several of you have done it with us before, and sometimes Commissioner Harris came one time, twice in the week, because he thought he came one day, but he went ahead and came on his other day. So we got two, so if you haven't ever done that before, if you've never been on a route, come do it, because you're gonna see something that it's amazing, and it's a great opportunity to see how our homebound seniors are cared for in our community.
Worthwhile. I enjoy it. I know a couple of commissioners elect that probably ought to visit with you on that too.
Well, if you wanted to look up the definition of gratitude in Webster's Dictionary, you need to see the faces of these people who take the list. It's real simple.
Make a motion to approve the resolution as presented.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the resolution as presented for Meals on Wheels. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. Item 1.2, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action on a request from the Kerr County Republican Party to use the Hill Country Youth Event Center free of charge for two events. The first one is March 11th, which is today, this evening, for precinct conventions, and again on March the 23rd for the county convention. And Paul Zolman brought this request to me, and this goes to show again, people don't understand, and wanted me to approve it. And I said, I have no problem with it whatsoever, but I can't approve anything supportively. And that's why it's on the agenda for to discuss this. And by the way, we did get a request this morning from the Democratic Party to be afforded the same opportunity. So, Jack Crimmer?
I'm John Kerman, if it has to be legal, but I go by Jack. Everybody knows me by Jack. I'm the vice chair of the Kerr County Republican Party, but I'm the acting chair of the Republican Party because Paul Zolman resigned last week. And I just ask that you, and I'm the acting chair until Helen Hurd officially comes in and becomes the elected chair of the Republican Party, which hopefully will be soon. And I'm asking that you take this up so that we can use the ag barn on two separate dates, and I think it's appropriate that if the Democrats want it, they should also.
Thank you. And by way of history, I attended my first Republican county convention here in this courthouse. And traditionally, it's been here. And then a few years back, we moved it over to the event center because it was larger. And I apologize, I haven't been to a Democratic county convention, so I don't know if they did here or not. I think they did.
Another question I have is, Jake, is there availability on those days?
Yes, there is availability on those evenings. They've requested those from us, and they are clear on the schedule. It's just a matter of support for us.
Well, I view it as a public service.
Yeah.
I move for approval.
Motion has been made first.
You read it?
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve use of the Youth Event Center for the Republican Party precinct convention and county convention.
Do we need to modify the motion to include the Democrat Party should they choose to hold an event? In fairness.
I think I would agree we should do it, but we can't do it under the agenda. I don't know. But
But I don't want letting to know it's available for the Democratic
That's
Party.
right.
right,
That's right.
we can approve it
Right.
after the fact.
After the fact.
Right. With the,
If Jake knows they can use it, we can waive the fee after.
So the public understands what we're talking about. Sometimes we have to split hairs. We can only talk about what is in the written agenda item, no more, no less. And when we get outside those parameters, I get nasty looks from our county attorney. So the request here, sometimes I get that kind of panic look, like you gotta stop it. Because we get in trouble for that, it's true. But this is something that would be a bipartisan issue. The county public service in mind, we can only vote on the GOP question. So with that, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 1.3, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action on the request from the Upper Guadalupe River Authority to allow Kerr County Maintenance Department to replace two educational signs, 24 by 36 inch, at Flatwatch Park regarding the impact of pet waste can have on water quality. UGRA will purchase the signs. Ms. Bushnell.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Tara Bushnell, Upper Guadalupe River Authority. This sign, we originally worked with support of Commissioner Bill Williams back in 2010 to install those signs, and since so much time had gone by and they've degraded, I asked my staff to update the info a little bit. 90% the same as what the existing ones were, but we love help from maintenance just to put them up and kind of affirm that y'all still want that information in Flat Rock Park.
I'll move that we approve, allow Upper Guadalupe River Authority to put up two educational signs at Flat Rock Park regarding the impact on pet waste. And our maintenance department, Shane has said that's no problem. He's happy to do that. So on that basis, I move to approve the motion.
I'll second that motion.
We got a motion and a second to approve our maintenance department putting up the new signs at Flat Rock Park. I thought it, Karen. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you, Tara.
Thank y'all.
1.4, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to accept donations to Kerr County Animal Services totaling $14 for the month of February to be added to the operating expense line item 10-642-330. Randy Gibbons.
Good morning. These are our donations for the month of February.
Move for approval.
Second. Got a motion and a second to approve the donations to the animal services as presented. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? There being none, unanimous. 1.5, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to amend the resolution approved in court order number 40384 for the rifle resistant body armor program for FY 2025 to replace words, quote, Texas Public Safety Officer with, quote, Office of the Governor, end quote, in the third paragraph.
Ms. Putnam's not here today. Jody just asked me to bring this before the court. Basically, the governor's office sent back just a little bit of a change from public safety officer to the office of the governor on that thing. So the court had passed that resolution previously. It's just to ratify and make that adjustment to it.
What's the reasoning?
The state of Texas.
Yeah.
There was there were two things. There was an update also on the assurance form. Basically, every year they just do it. And I don't know what the reason is. They just send us an email saying, "Sure, make this change."
I move to approve.
Got a motion and a second to approve the change from
Texas Public Safety Officer to Office of the Governor.
Any discussion?
The question is, do they just want a new court order or do they want a new resolution?
Jody, I think it's just.
We were just gonna give a new court order with that, we'll have Judge Kelly initial the change and then do a court order amending that.
All right, that should be good.
Okay, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Being none, unanimous. Moving down to item 1.7. Consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to authorize courthouse closure and provide eclipse administrative day for employees for April 8, 2024, unless required to work, in which case an eclipse administrative day will be provided as approved by the department head or elected official and must be used by the end of the fiscal year. Sylvia out there?
Yeah.
Here she is.
We talked about this the other day, I think Mr. Pages and I, so we kind of figured out the best way to handle it. And this was the best way, in our mind, to give an administrative day for everyone that, other than those that have to work. Basically it's closing the courthouse. However, obviously the sheriff's department, probably maintenance, or some of the maintenance staff, some of the road and bridge staff are going to be required to work, and those that do have to work, they just get a administrative day added to their pay schedule, and it'll be coded as a separate day, as I recall. Isn't that right, Tracy?
Yes.
So it can be kept track of as opposed to the other paid time off days. anyway, Sylvia, is that kind of?
That pretty much summarizes it.
Well, and to clarify, April the 8th when the eclipse occurs is not a holiday. We're not making it a holiday. But the school districts, the city, we as the county think that it's better for people not to come down to the courthouse. We don't need to bring people in that day. It's just going to make things worse. So we give everybody an administrative day off, except for those that are required to work. We identified most of the departments that would be required to work. And then they would get that added onto their pay.
Just a day off in the future, which
Day
we'll
off.
track separately.
Right.
And by doing it this way, there shouldn't be a budget impact. Because they have to use it by the end of the year. It will be difficult for some departments, road, bridge, and sheriff, department, giving them a day off, but it's the only way we can see to make it work. So I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
A motion and a second to approve the additional administrative day for the courthouse closure, for the eclipse administrative day as presented. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, none, unanimous. Moving on to item 1.8, consider, discuss, take appropriate action to rescind court order number 40068 and approve a revised county payroll schedule for FY 23-24. The move to date time sheets are due based on the April 8th total eclipse. We're all working around the eclipse.
Yes, sir.
Now we've got our treasurer.
So April 8th is a payroll cutoff day where timesheets are due for us to process payroll. If the courthouse and departments are not going to be in, I would like for that payroll cutoff to be the Friday before, which is shown on the schedule that you were provided in your backup, so that we can start processing payroll timely.
That's for April
Good.
5.
Make a motion to approve the new payroll date schedule as presented.
We're sending the old court order and to the new.
Yeah, presented previously.
I'll second that.
Okay. Got a motion, got a second, and those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. 1.9, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action regarding a plan for Flat Rock Park during the April 8th solar eclipse. Thank you.
Well, yes, sir. As far as we know right now, we really don't have a real plan for the Flat Rock Park, Dog Park, or the Center Point Lions Park. So what I was kind of planning to do is try to get more porta johns down there, roll-offs, at least at the Flat Rock, maybe a roll-off at the Center Point Lions Park. I've already started checking in on the porta potties, and they're pretty much booked up by the city already.
We had those booked up 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So I think I'm gonna have to try to find something outside of town, Bandera maybe, but I've heard some of those guys out that way are Prouse guys, I'm sorry.
We've scoured statewide, Shane.
Let's,
There are no more porta potties to be had.
Okay. So,
Jake, you mind going, let's get a little input from Jake, because we got things going on up above, and what's your thoughts, Jake?
I'd come to the court today to offer an alternative, knowing that there is no porta potties and services available to rent at this time. Per the court's authorization, we are a charged parking lot at the event center on April 8th. The reason for that is to give access to the restrooms without a drain on porta johns. We have the facilities. If the court would wish, we could include Flat Rock Park into that paid parking area. Number one, to help get cars off the road, to help prevent gridlock. Yes, there's a paid service, but that would open up the availability of the restrooms in River Star Park and the event center to those closed parks down there, which would help also alleviate the need for trying to find any more equipment. I believe the roll-off would still be part of that plan just for the waste that's generated. But you know, we know that these people are coming. They have discretionary income and time. We're an easy 1 hour walk to downtown, so these people can park in the lots beforehand, walk downtown, enjoy the festival, and walk back. So I would propose that the court change Flat Rock Park into a paid parking lot, in essence, to alleviate gridlock and help with the restroom.
So Jake, how would that work? I mean, Is there a maximum number of spaces? Would you start turning people away at some point?
Of course, if we fill. So we would start, our prepaid parking will go live this week, so we can have prepaids, so people know they'll be coming. With that will be the press releases and programs to help direct people to that lot the day of. We would start at the event center. Flat Rock would be an overflow area, since those facilities aren't permanent down there, and people have to walk up the hill. But between Flat Rock Park and the dog park area needed, that's easily 2,500 vehicles down there. That you could,
How many?
2,500 if you include the dog park. You could probably park every car in town in between our place and Flat Rock Park right now.
Jake, on your website, under this, we'll make sure we put on there that there's no camping, no overnight camping in Flat Rock Park.
We can do whatever the court wishes if you want to have us envelop that.
That's just part of our current policy, and we just need to make sure that everyone's aware that there's no camping in that park overnight.
The event's over with early enough in the day. People can.
And the gate does get locked the night before.
Right.
We can ensure that.
So it's probably just keep it locked.
Right.
If you can bring in some additional people to man the gate down there to keep people from.
That's correct. So with you all authorizing the painted lot, we did give Oakview Group has a parking arm. We have professional parkers, and we have engaged with them to run the event center parking lot to free us up for maintenance issues or keep restrooms stocked. We can just add the Flat Rock Park to that very easily.
Dick, what I like about it is the unified management of the whole Flat Rock Park. Our plan for Flat Rock Park would be to put it under your supervision and incorporate that into the plan that you have for the paid parking places up top. That would be the easiest way for us to do it, I think, Shane.
Yeah.
Is there any availability of additional roll-offs?
Right now, we have one already scheduled, and I believe that if I call him today, he can reserve another one easily. Most people haven't been going the roll-off route because they don't have enough parking. They haven't really thought through that, but like, we know where we're going.
Well, we've been through the dilemma with the porta potties, but there's going to be a lot of trash. There's going to be a lot of trash. And if we get some additional roll-offs out there, I think that would be beneficial.
What are you advertising the parking as? How much?
We're going to go live with the prepaid at $75, and then day of we will have a upcharge.
Is that what they did at Tybee?
Correct. I believe they started at 60, or they might have the baseball fields, and I believe they're up to 75.
Okay.
So it's also revenue for the county. We know it's a one-off. We know these are great people coming to town. Me as an event person, I'm completely biased, but I want to welcome them to open arms.
And the thing I like the best about it, it's structured. You got somebody in charge, and it's organized, rather than just willy-nilly people stopping in the middle of the street or getting out on somebody's lawn or something. You got a plan. Someone in charge.
Shane, Tyler was to visit with Little League president also, and almost advised them that I think that this is not a youth baseball event. I think we ought to padlock those gates, all of them, with a new lock. Otherwise, the gates are going to be left open by people that know the code, which is most of the community. So I think we ought to just put and just advise them that we will be padlocking those facilities for the event.
That's an idea.
So
I don't know the code, but everybody does.
do we have a consensus that we can just make a motion to include Flat Rock Park in the plan that Jake asked?
You just made that motion, I'll second it.
I made that motion.
Okay.
We have a motion and a second to pull Flat Rock Park in the plan that's in there, Jake. Any discussion?
Only question from my side, Jake, is what are you doing to ensure your parking staff are going to get in?
Early.
If you wait till Monday, they won't.
Correct. Early ride.
Okay.
Jake will get it done.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Can I just add a quick comment, since we are using the Ag Center for,
We're on YouTube, people have to hear you and see you.
okay, Barbara Joel Ferguson here in the city. Since we are using the Ag Barn as a stopping place and utilizing the restrooms there, I have a special request, and I've spoken to a lot of different county commissioners about this. I would love for the staff to pop off the signs that are in our bathrooms behind the toilets. I'm going to read this sign behind the toilets and the urinals. It says, "To conserve water, this building uses reclaimed water to flush toilets and urinals. Reclaimed water, do not drink."
Now read it in Spanish.
We're representing our community. I find that sign insulting to our community. I'd love to have those signs taken off before we invite the world to come and see what Kerr County's about.
And we can put that on an agenda item and discuss it.
Thank you very much.
You know,
I think there may be a state law requirement.
that's probably it.
That's why originally, I mean,
Yeah.
that's why they're putting it.
Bobby Balter one time complained about signs on, in the barn to not dump feed and stuff in the drains. And he said, nobody pays attention to signs. I said, I've never seen anybody drink in the restroom. So I think they do.
Well, I don't know if we really need a sign over every urinal in the toilet. That's the issue. Maybe one in there.
They're human.
We understand the issue.
Jake, so on that, can you check on state law and see if we're required to have those?
Correct, I'll see if there's been any health code changes, but that's provided there
All right.
to get the occupancy.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to item 1.10. And this gets back to, people think that if the county judge, I can just authorize you to park in the parking lot. You can't. This is to consider and discuss, take appropriate action on a request from Kerrville Police Department to use the county-owned parking lot located at the northwest and southwest corners of Earl Harris Street and North Street on April the 8th due to solar eclipse. The request is to restrict parking using cones to their staff only. We have the parking lot, we bought the parking lot right behind the police station. And they need it, as well as any places that we have over at 550 across the street, to house their people, because they're gonna be out on the road protecting us. Seems like a pretty reasonable request to me.
I move for approval.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second to approve this police department using our parking lot for eclipse. Any discussion?
Are we charging $75?
There's some things that we can do together.
Well, yeah, just actually.
Okay, those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. 111. We'll do the last one before the break. Consider discuss take appropriate action to rescind the court order number 40502, accepting a $50 donation to the Kerr County Sheriff's Office. The donation had already been accepted with court order number 40473. Sheriff.
Yeah, this donation actually got sent to y'all twice, so we had one $50 donation. Thank you.
Got a motion and a second to approve rescinding the prior order as presented. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? None? Okay, let's take a 5-minute break and come back 5 after 10.
Almost got it.
Sheriff, I apologize, we need to go to the timed items. That's fine. Next. We'll go to our timed items at 10 o'clock, 1.16. Consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to accept quarterly report from the Veteran Services Advisory Committee. Gary Miller.
Morning, I'm Gary Miller, 140 Ray Drive, Precinct 3. Veteran Service Advisory, again, wants to extend its appreciation to the Commissioner's Court for all the support that you have for veterans in the county, in particular the appointment of the 2 service officers to help with veterans who are looking for benefits from the federal government, state government, and elsewhere. Today we have Jeff Harris and Vicki Marshall here for members of the committee, and Chase Alsop here, who's Assistant Veterans County Service Officer. We have met with Jenna and Chase over the past couple of months. A few little things I want to bring up today for the record is Jenna prepared an annual report for the calendar year 2023. A couple of the highlights on that, financially, everybody's interested in how much money that could mean to veterans, tax-free benefits for disability pension and other things, $2.8 million. That includes the retroactive amount, which is lump sum paid to veterans one time, to back pay to the time that they started their claim, as well as whatever they may get in 12 months of the monthly payments. And I think that $2.8 million is a rather impressive number, but also impressive is she had 245 new clients through the year. And I just did a quick math. If you sat down and figured typically working year is 2,000 hours, this is about 4 hours per veteran. If that's all you did was work on veterans, 4 hours per veteran in the year, no vacations, no sick days, no going to training, no doing Memorial Day stuff, no doing outreach. So try to give you some idea as to what the volume is in that office, what the need is, how many veterans in this county are looking for help and getting help. If you get 245 new clients in there in that period, to me, it's just a huge, huge number. During that period also, back in December, Jenna and Chase were able to move into the new offices over up the street here.
We call that 550-year-old Garrett.
The what?
550-year-old Garrett.
550-year-old Garrett, and very nice. All of us have been over and looked at them. They're much more roomier, a little bit more water. The big thing is it gives them privacy, because at times when you're dealing with veterans issues, you have to ask some very personal questions, and you don't want eavesdroppers in there listening to you, and also some of the distractions and door slamming and people talking outside the door and stuff like that. So it's an improvement. Everybody likes it. There's no steps to climb, no ramps to go up. They've got a couple of parking places that are designated veterans only. So appreciate all the work that the county maintenance staff, Shane and his people have done for staff. It's also moving forward on the Veterans Pathway, which is going to help connect the VA Medical Center to Flat Rock Lake and Flat Rock Park, and also hopefully connected to the city river trail system. The state of Texas is over there, and they pretty much got the improvements done on the traffic signaling there, that's bringing that up to modern standards where you don't have the wires going across the road anymore. They're putting the cantilever beams out, and also new pedestrian. I think you're going to get to things where it gives you the timer so you know how fast you have to run to get across the street. And I'd like to extend some appreciation to Charlie Hastings, because I know he's worked on that a lot on behalf of the county and kind of pushed that along with Commissioner Paces, and this goes back to Commissioner Wilshire a couple, like 4 years ago. Something coming up here that we're yet to hear a little bit about, we're getting pretty short on, is the 101st anniversary of the VA in charge of the medical facility out here. Last year was the 100th, but the VA wants to do a real good job, so they want to take an extra year, I guess. And so April 12th at noon, and some people are getting invitations, and my understanding is, talking to people out there, it's going to be open to the public, but it's yet to be put out as, say, advertising. But that's a notable achievement. It's the oldest VA medical facility in the state of Texas. And just by comparison, that's in 1923. Audie Murphy in San Antonio opened 50 years later in 1973. Last Thursday night, March 7th, there was a public hearing out at the VA for the proposed Freedom's Path 2 housing project. I appreciate Jeff Holt was out there. Asked questions. It was about 30 people in all, and about half of those were VA employees, and the other half were citizens. Asked questions. It was a very brief outline on what the enhanced use lease projects are, where the VA leases land to people. They got excess land, and so we got all this land, we need to do something with it. So they lease it to somebody, and then whoever they lease it to comes up with projects. And one of the projects that the VA favors very heavily is housing for veterans. And Freedom's Path Phase 1 was completed 8 years ago, and hopefully if this goes through all of the steps it has to go through, I tell people it's 100 steps you have to climb, and right now you're on step 12. And if you don't make it to step 13, you're not going to go. So there's a lot of things that can stop these projects, and we certainly hope that everybody that's got to do something to get this thing done gets it done, because there's a need for housing for everybody in Kerr County. The governor keeps telling people move to Texas, and here they come, or where they can stay when they get there. So that's 50 units. It's planned for 50 units. Story we get is its efficiency, studio types. It's not 1 bedrooms or 2 bedrooms. It's studio. But put 50 of them in there, and they're going to be geared to affordable, but some of them, a few of them are going to be market, which the first phase didn't have. So that's one big change. Last thing to talk about is the workload that goes on in the Veteran Service Office there. It doesn't seem like it ever slows down. There's always something that's happening out there that a veterans find out about it and they want to participate in it. They always say, go talk to Veteran Service Officer. And on March 5th, the VA accelerated the PACT Act to open up health care to, they said millions, but at least hundreds of thousands of veterans who never had access to VA health care before. And so you have to apply for that. You just can't walk out and say, hi, I'm a veteran. You have to fill out paperwork and give it to the VA. And so we expect that some veterans who have never been eligible for VA health care in the past that are now eligible will be contacting Jim and Chase and saying, I need some paperwork to get that health care. And that's the report.
Kerr, question for you. Do you recall when the county established the Veteran Service Office?
When?
What year? 2010?
2013.
2013?
We approved it for funding in 2012 to 2013.
And I bring it up because it's something that is not required. A lot of counties don't do it. We decided to do it as a commissioner's board. It was Judge Tinley at the time. And it is proven to be a huge success. Thank you to the service committee and obviously our staff, the departments, and there's 3 people that really were instrumental in it at the time. General Bill Bacon, General Shellhays. They were really involved. Also Sherry Cunningham, who's not in the military. But Sherry really was the driving force way back when to get it off the ground.
I think she's passed away.
All 3 of them have passed away. That's what I bring up with that. So anyway, this has been, it was a little unsure at the time when it was approved whether it was really going to help, whether it was going to do what we had hoped it to, and it's far exceeded. And many thanks to you all for the advisory committee, because we really keep it going, and Chase doing a great job. So I want to thank you all.
And I might remind you, my first year in office, when it came budget time, I went through and identified all the things that were required to do by law, and then the services that we provide that we're not required to do. And one of them was veteran services. And I want you to know the public overwhelmingly responded that they wanted to keep that office. We're good at it. So we got a mandate, and we're answering. Thank you all for your service.
Thank you very much.
I saw Mark Del Toro this morning. He came in today. It's just information, we can.
And I'll move that we approve the quarterly report from the Veteran Services Advisory Committee.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the report as presented. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Yes? Unanimous. Thank you. Moving on to item 1.17, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action regarding an amending plat for Ingram Hills, lots 45, 47, and 48. Bobby.
Morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners.
Okay, Bobby, if you would identify yourself so the public knows who you are.
Yes.
Right.
Right. Charlie is not here, so I'm Bobby Doyle with the engineering department. This proposal adjusts the lot lines between three existing lots. Lots 45, 47, and 48 will be amended into lots 45R, 47R, and 48R. Each lot is currently over 5 acres, and each lot will remain over 5 acres. Lot 47 frontage is currently on Ramona Drive, which is an unbuilt road. With this amending plat, each lot will now have frontage on Ingram Hills Road. The county engineer requests the court consider, discuss, and take appropriate action regarding an amending plat for Ingram Hills, lots 45, 47, and 48. Volume 3, page 149 in precinct 4.
I move for approval.
Got a motion and a second to approve amending the plat for Ingram Hills, lots 45, 47, and 48, as presented. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Item 1.19, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action for the Commissioners Court approval to surplus a 1999 in
118, right?
skip over 118.
Yeah.
Oh, that, yeah. 118 is consider, discuss, and take appropriate action regarding a revision of plat, Kerrville Country Estates, Section 2, lots 35A and 35B. Mr. Gordon.
This proposal revises and combines lots 35A and 35B, 5.002 acres each, returning them to a single lot. Lot 35R will be 10.004 acres with road frontage on Kerrville Country Drive and Silver Hill. A public hearing was conducted on October 23, 2023. These lots are located in Kerrville's ETJ, but since both lots are over 5 acres, this proposal is likely exempted from platting through the city of Kerrville.
I second that one.
Got a motion and a second to approve the Kerrville Country Estates Section 2, Lot 35A and B, revision of plat. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Now, 1.19, oh, that's in time. Good. We're going to go, Kelly.
Did you call for 1.19?
Yeah, I'm not going to call him.
Okay.
And what that is that's an untimed item. And so we skip some untimed items that we need to finish before we get to that.
Okay.
So, that's between Road and Bridge and the Sheriff's Office. Item 1.12, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to use contingency funds due to the increased number of inmates in the Kerr County Correctional Facility who are receiving medication for the immunodeficiency caused by AIDS and their costs. Sheriff.
Judge, 1.12 and 1.13, I'd like to pass. I was able to sit down with the auditor, and we were able to find another line item to be able to get those funds out of, so we're good.
Okay, so we'll drop 112 and 113.
Yes, sir.
And we'll move on to item 114. Consider, discuss, take appropriate action to approve job descriptions for Senate Bill 22.
Yes, I'm looking for the court's approval to be able to pass these job descriptions. These job descriptions are the ones we've identified that qualify for Senate Bill 22 funding. So I'm just looking for y'all's approval. Y'all have any questions?
Are there changes to any of them?
No, they're not changing to any of them. Just need y'all's approval so the funds, y'all be able to get the funds to these guys. Now, the whole sheriff's office does not qualify for it. These are the specific ones that do qualify and meet the requirements for Senate Bill 22 funding. So there's no changes. I just need to bring these in front of y'all for your approval so that way they can be paid out of that line item.
So as a result of this, Sheriff, will you expend the full $500,000 or how's that?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
You're not going to leave any money on the table?
No.
I move for approval.
Just
second. And does it pay their entire salary or just a portion?
No, just a portion. Yeah, we kind of divided it up between all the people that do qualify.
But the auditor needs this done, right?
This was suggested, I just came back from a training at the end of February, and this was a suggestion that was made by the Texas Comptroller's Office in order to ensure just a backup who is receiving the funds.
Well, whatever it takes, bells and suspenders.
Right. It will complicate the HR process for payroll and so forth.
It's already,
So this has been being paid since October the 1st. We did have a few employees that were in there receiving it that were not qualified once the final rules came out. So before we move forward with all the journal entries that it's going to take in order to straighten it out, we wanted to just come and say, these are the job descriptions that are qualified.
That's fine.
So there's not any changes because of this that weren't already there.
correct.
This is good documentation, and it'll be real clear for both the HR and treasurer as to who gets that SB 22 when they code it.
Absolutely moving forward.
Any other comments, observations? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Yes. Okay, item 115. I'm here asking for forgiveness again. Consider, discuss, take appropriate action to ratify and confirm the grant agreement for the Rural Law Enforcement Salary Assistance Program Award for Senate Bill 2222. We had a deadline to get it in. I signed it. And that's y'all ratify it.
I move for approval.
We have a motion and a second to ratify and confirm the grant agreement for the Rural Law Enforcement Salary Assistance Program as presented. Any discussion?
What happens if we don't ratify?
We gotta get the money back.
Then we don't get SB 22 money.
That's, when we have those deadlines, it's down.
Right.
We get keep the money to send it back. I have to sign them and come to you guys and say, what do you want to do? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Okay, Kelly, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Well, I explained what the rules are, and I got to follow my own rules.
Right, I did submit on both these items for 10 o'clock, so they must have gotten missed as far as being time got. I don't know how you want to do this.
Let me call it again so the public knows what we're talking about. Consider, discuss, and take appropriate action for the Commissioner's Court approval to surplus a 1999 Genpack DP-18 truck lift. And then we're going to talk about another replacement of that down below, right?
Yes. The River Bridge Department has a 1999 Genpack BP-18 truck lift that needs to be surplus. At this time, I ask the Commissioners Court for their approval to surplus one 1999 Genpack BP-1800 truck lift from the Kerr County River Bridge Mechanic Shop, Precinct 1, 2, 3, and 4.
I move for approval.
I'll second.
Got a motion to say? Robert, you think that needs to be surplus?
I believe so. I don't feel comfortable getting underneath it as much as I used to.
We got a motion and a second to surplus the truck lift.
Are you going to put it on gov deals or something?
That's
the next one.
That is probably what we will do, but we did want to have a talk with the county attorney on that. If we, in the future, when we do another equipment auction, just don't know if there's any liability if somebody were to buy it. There are some issues with it.
But it's something that I can see.
Right.
Somebody wanting.
Oh, absolutely.
Sure.
Okay. Any other discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. Item 120. Consider, discuss, and take appropriate action for the Commissioners Court approval to purchase a new equipment lift from the mechanic shop at Road Bridge. Ms. Hoffman.
The proposed Genpack HTS 27X lift would replace the existing lift in the mechanic shop. Like I said, it's a 1999 model. They've made a lot of changes. It's starting to show its age, and a lot of the parts are not replaceable anymore. The chains on it are stretched, which makes it uneven when lifting up whatever's on the list. And it's usually about a difference of 3.5 inches lower in the back when you go to lift a dump truck or a water truck on it. A lot of the parts, like I said, are not available anymore. We want to get it replaced before someone gets hurt. The mechanic in the shop, he won't let the assistant get up underneath it. He gets up underneath it, but I think all of us are like, no, I don't think I'm gonna go under there. You know, we do have annual inspections, and we're a little disappointed with the company that we hired to do an inspection. Probably should not have approved the lift because of the stretched chains. This new lift that we would like to purchase has a lifting capacity of 27,000 as opposed to the current lift, which is 18,000 pounds. It's a longer lift. The new one would be 26.458 feet. The current one is 21.416 feet. The extra length and capacity would allow for additional equipment that we have at Road and Bridge that we've never been able to put up on the lift. We would like to take, I listed three things that there is money, and it doesn't really matter to me which one we would take it from. I'd like to take that money from the line item. It was 16-684565, which is that capital, but it was not on the proposed 5-year plan list. But we also do have $266,000 from property surplus that we made in October from the equipment auction. And I have spoke with Tanya about it. You know, if the court would approve that, that money has to be used and specified in the budget year that you made the money. So we have that, or we also do have equipment repairs, which is the mechanic's budget that he said if worse came to worse, he would pay for it out of that. I do have some videos that I wanted to share with you that'll show you our actual lift in our shop that I shot the videos of. It was on Friday. And then Crystal found one of how properly operating lift should sound when the locks come down as you're raising it. Yeah, let's just do the locks. This is our lift in our mechanic shop with the dump truck on it. Pretty slow going up. I just heard that. Yeah. Yeah, what it is it's got these locks, and it gets at a certain point where the locks come down. Well, because of the chain stretch, you hear one lock go down, then you hear the one on the passenger front side go down quite a few seconds later, and you hear the back ones both go at the same time. And then we have a video of a lift, of a brand new lift, what it should sound like when those locks go down. And you'll notice that they go down pretty much at the same time, very quickly.
You brought your own tech person, I see.
I did. You can see how much quicker it lifts. Granted, it's a car, but it does lift a lot faster. Did you hear the locks? Where ours is like it does one, I don't know, 5 to 8 seconds later, the other lock finally goes down.
Well, you don't get the car.
I noticed that better lift out of Cadillac.
Yeah. I think it's time, and it's getting to a point that I think it's a safety issue, and they use that lift a lot, so they're not on their backs on a creeper. So,
question is really probably to the auditor. The proceeds we get from sales in road and bridge, do those proceeds have to be used in road and bridge, or do they go to the general fund?
They're deposited into the road and bridge fund. And there's a zero balance, I believe. We did not project any revenue. I'd have to go back and clarify that, but I'm pretty sure there was zero revenue projected for those sales at budget time. So we would have to increase the budget for the revenue and then increase the corresponding expense.
To me, that makes sense to use it out of that line item, which is, I mean, just from old equipment, if it's old, this is replacing equipment. So that would be my preference to use that line item and have to come back with a budget amendment.
There will be, and you see in your packet, the one quote is just for the actual unit, and then Ben Pack recommended, they're out of, I think, Kaufman, Texas, near Dallas, Fort Worth, the lift guys, and their estimate to install that lift is $4,675. And when we get ready to do that, I would bring it back and have the county attorney draw up a general contract for the installation.
Okay. Okay. So we look at the next, we kind of approve it now, but we do the next agenda, we do the budget amendment. So that's kind of the process we've used.
Mark, quick, you had me with Robert's. I appreciate the long, detailed explanation and how we're going to do it. I really respect the way you probably this thing together to be able to do it. The bottom line is, I trust what you said.
I used to be 6 foot tall.
How quickly can we pull the trigger on this thing?
It's pretty much ready to go, waiting on you guys.
Okay.
As far as that goes.
At least to get it ordered.
We can have it ordered and it will be delivered to our yard. And as soon as it gets there, the company there will come down and install it. And they will be taking the other one down, cranking it up for
Yeah, I
us.
see that.
And we're good to go.
Can you order it, do they require payment at time of order, or?
I don't think so.
Okay, so you go ahead and order it, and then the next commissioner's court can do a budget amendment.
Yeah.
Okay. Got a motion and a second?
I guess motion to authorize, Road and Bridge to place order for RB, what is it?
It's a Ben Pack,
27.
yeah, it's, let me get it, so we got it in here. Ben Pack HDS 27X lift.
HDS 27X lift.
We got a motion and a second to approve the purchase of new equipment lift from the mechanic shop at Road and Bridge. Any other discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is 1.21. Consider discuss take appropriate action to approve the budget calendar for FY 24-25. The auditor and I met and discussed this extensively. Last year, we had a lot of last-minute surprises, and the budget season was a little chaotic towards the end. And we wanted to get it more regulated and predictable and scheduled. And if you look at this schedule, one of the things that we're doing is we're going to open up in-code to the department heads and the elected officials to work on their proposed budget ask a month earlier than we used to. We used to do it mid-May, now we'll do it mid-April. So that will be coming up soon. Give them more time to figure out what it is that they really need, so that they can articulate their ask. Then that would be due by about mid-May. They can turn in the ask. That's when it goes in the info, and we get to see what they want their part of the budget to be. And we aggregate that, and we come out. That's when we start the notebook and the spreadsheets. Once we see what they submit. And then we have scheduled 3 separate budget workshops to listen. And one of the things about budget workshops is the public is invited to listen, but they don't get to have any input. So you can see we've kind of staggered this such that we're going to have the budget workshops, and then we're going to start having input from the public at Commissioners Court meetings. And so you can see that we've got budget workshop scheduled for May 23rd, May 30th, and June 3rd. But on May 28th, we start receiving input from the public about the budget, which will be an agenda item so that we can hear. And then,
Comment is it was redacted. Most of the public won't have seen quite a bit of the information.
well, we'll put the schedule together without the color coding on it. That was just to try to demonstrate to you.
Yeah, I understand.
But you can see we then have three more opportunities for, the public input would be again on May the 28th and June the 10th. And at that point, as the chief budget officer for the county, I think I will have heard from the departments and the elected officials as to what they think they need. I will have heard from the public as to what they want and don't want. And it really gives, this calendar gives the public a lot better input to let us know what they think about what we're doing. And then that's when I would put together my proposed budget. It would have opportunities to continue to hear from the public. I have a deadline, I put a deadline on here for July 15 to get my proposed budget, and then we sit down and work as to how we're going to finalize this thing. And still get more public input right up to the very end.
Does it? That seems, on July 15th, is that your final budget? It seems really late for us to
I didn't say
have.
final budget. Proposed budget.
Oh, yeah, your proposed budget, though, but I mean, it's pretty late in the process.
Well, okay, this is my sixth budget. I've prepared 5 proposed budgets that department heads and elected officials have completely ignored. Every single time. And we end up sitting time in the workshops, sitting here talking among ourselves, trying to renegotiate what it is. And so I want to hear all of that before I submit the proposed budget. They're not listening to my budget, you know, because we're not going to be, we all know they're going to ask for more than we're going to be able to approve. Right? That happens every year. That is just, what's the Bishop Bill used to call it? Budget culture. That is the budget culture. And so what I'm trying to do is get that input from all the departments and offices and the public before I put together that proposed budget. Because if the public doesn't like it, it's not going to work. Right? And it gives the public and the department heads and elected officials more time to work with the commissioners on the court to see where we can land this plane. And try to make this a little bit more constructive process instead of, wait and see. And then we have this day of reckoning. We all shell shocked as we walk out of here. Trying to make this a little bit more, so, am I wrong, guys?
I like the idea of the input from the public. I think that helps a bunch. They kind of felt collected, I think, sometimes in the past, so I think it's a good thing. One thing I want to point out right now, just make sure we have forums for all this. On the June 24th, I've already scheduled a conference that I have to attend. So, just so we make sure of that.
That's a commissioner's court meeting, but you can watch it on YouTube.
Right. I know.
Okay. We're trying to get this out early enough so that everybody can plan around it.
Yeah, exactly. I just want to bring that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be at the TAC deal in Georgetown on May 23rd.
But you can still make it up and watch it on YouTube.
Yes.
What we're trying to do, we can't accommodate everybody's schedule.
Right.
And we stagger it out to make sure that this thing goes long enough for everybody to be able to have their say before we have to start the decision making.
Well, we just want to make sure we get a forum, if, Jim's got something, I've got something, any of those we need to point out.
I still recommend that you try to have your proposed budget prior. I mean, I don't know if it's possible or not. I just think, because.
Well, frankly, I don't know. I may have it out in a week.
Right.
They have it, I mean, you don't know.
Right.
But I didn't have adequate time.
Right. The other thing is that it seems to me that traditionally we look at salaries and new employees at the end, and all of a sudden we start adjusting based on, we're trying to make adjustments based on salaries, as opposed to doing salaries in the beginning, get that fixed, and then make some of the other decisions just later. It's the opposite way that we've been doing it. I think it'd be good to have that worked out early. And also, I said it last time when we didn't do it, again, and it wasn't no one's fault, because I could have done as well. On salary hires and changes, we have got to have court orders to track those. It causes lots of problems with HR when we make changes in here, and then the auditor makes them when she hears, and HR is totally out of that loop.
Well, and
So we need to have court orders for any salary adjustments and new hires.
I agree, and I'm trying to get to facilitate that a little better, because the way things worked before is I would propose a budget, and everybody went in and changed it up. And that's okay. You need to let us know what you think you need. And then we would have the workshops, and we would have this chaotic thing of trying to go through it, and we would change salaries, we'd have new hires, what have you, and we didn't have any of the document. I'm trying to get all that out of the way. And we would make those decisions before we receive any public input. What I'm trying to do is make those decisions about this court, make those decisions. I'll make my recommendations. I don't have to follow either. But the point being is make the recommendations and make those decisions after we've received the public input, not just the department and the officials. And I think that was part of what the public was upset about with the last budget, in my opinion. And so I'm trying to reserve it to give them that opportunity.
I have an observation. I mean, when we've been through it one cycle, it's just that, yes, each department head or elected official came in, presented what they wanted, and we sat here and listened. And at that point in time, we didn't necessarily have the rationale or basis to say no. And then it all got kind of compiled, and it kept growing and growing and growing, and we never really, in my opinion, had an adequate opportunity to go back and say, okay, we heard what you asked for, but it ain't gonna work, so come back to us with something different.
And that's what we're trying to accomplish with this schedule.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's do it.
I'm good.
Okay, fair enough. Is there a motion to second to approve the budget schedule?
I'm moved that we accept the budget schedule as presented.
I'll say.
Got a motion to second to accept the budget schedule as presented. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. Move on to item 1.22. Consider, discuss, take appropriate action to surplus a chair, a computer tower, a table, 2 desks, 5 filing cabinets for various departments.
So
And this, believe it or not, this is what we have to do.
This helps us keep up with the fixed assets of the county is the reason, and that's why the auditor's office presents it, because then we have access for the fixed asset list.
And we appreciate it, but it just, this is the way government is run.
I move for approval.
I'll second.
Got a motion to second to approve the surplus items as presented. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Item 1.23, consider, discuss, take appropriate action to decrease up to $258,547 worth of IT projects approved for debt and related debt proceeds or increase R&D equipment expense. Michelle?
Yes, the projection of the cost of the IT equipment has changed from the time we looked at this until now. And so we've actually moved out about $258,000 worth of items that were requested with the debt and moved them back to general fund. So we'll be talking with our financial advisor for the debt. And so we just need to firm up what we need to request. In the budget, we were asking for a total of about $3.3 million. And so this would decrease that ask by this equipment, or you could choose to increase the amount for road and bridge. Based on, everyone knows they have a 5-year schedule, it would allow them to go ahead and make, order the equipment because they would have the money at the end of the year, but it might be for the next years. It's just up to you.
And kind of put this in context. We approved the purchase of a lot of IT equipment. Bruce is still with us. Thank you. We approved a lot of equipment, and because of the budget demands, we looked into ways to finance that and amortize it over the life of the equipment. And that's partially what this reflects, is the difference between what we actually have to pay now and what we've been able to borrow to do. But then it also includes the road and bridge some of those funds can be moved over the road and bridge, I think is what we're talking about. Right?
I'm sorry, some of it's supposed to be moved over to road and bridge?
Could be.
Could be, yes. You could increase the amount that road and bridge has to spend.
So really, all this agenda item is doing is asking the court to approve, being able to look into that. We know we've got 258,000 plus, right?
It's about, that would be the max, would be 258,000, if we stayed with the same debt level.
And with that money, it would then be to be determined where we're going to use that fund, those funds.
I would think based on the budget, it would almost need to go to road and bridge, or I guess it could be used for road.
I'm fine, just tell us what the motion is. If we're going to move that money over road and bridge,
That's a question, I don't understand, why can't we use the money for the IT that we wanted to purchase?
We purchased it using general fund. There were items that were on that list that upon further looking into it, could not be used with debt proceeds. For one of the things in there, the software as a service, that was part of that whole issue of that, and so that can be purchased because it's not a capital item.
Paying for the general fund, so the savings can go back to the general fund and then be redirected.
and simply that everything that was in the IT budget made sense to IT. But then when we went to finance people and tried to finance it, borrow the money and pay for it over time, some of those things didn't qualify for finance. So we had to pay for them out of general fund.
As general fund. So this savings is going back to the general fund.
No, the savings, we don't have any savings technically right now because we haven't gone out for the debt yet. We'll start that as soon as we solidify the amount that y'all want to go out for debt.
We put it in the budget, okay? Then we looked into the finance, and now we see we can save this much money because of the finance.
So did we have adequate funds in the general fund to cover the amount that we're not
It's in the
spending
budget.
for debt?
The budget's not in the funds.
We made adjustments for it by using contingency funds and switching out some of the items that we had left in general fund that could have been purchased with debt funds.
This is really just a bookkeeping reconciliation.
Preference we would reduce the amount of debt and relook at road and bridge and budget. But it's not right.
Other than maybe to do that?
It's either that, or we, as I'm saying, it's either do that, or we just authorize road and bridge to buy $258,000 worth of equipment that was on our list.
The catch-22 is we've already got in the budget, road and bridge buy these things, we're looking for them to be paid for.
That's next year, it's next year's budget. We have the money for this year's budget. It's next year's budget. This would be accelerating the purchases of $158,000, as I understand.
I thought I heard we didn't have funds for the lift.
The lift was not on the proposed list that we gave.
We could use the sale of that equipment. And I'd also recommend that when the sale of that equipment to go for the lift, but I also recommend, that's why we want to look at it, using those funds to buy the equipment for next year. And we look at that list.
So anything that's not spent in road and bridge stays in road and bridge. We've been supplementing road and bridge from general fund for a long while now.
Forever.
And so that, I do not see that changing in the future. So anything that they don't spend this year of those proceeds, it will roll into the fund balance, but there's nothing that says those were proceeds from the sale of the asset and they can only be used for purchasing new assets. It's just all part of fund balance that can be used for road and bridge.
But we're, in this agenda item, we're doing two things. We are approving the action to decrease up to $258,547 for IT projects that are approved for debt and debt-related proceeds, right?
And
well, that's the second thing, and that's what I was saying. Do we do one or both things this time? And that's, I think, the decision you're making.
Well, the reduction of the IT fund, that's already been taken care of. That's coming out of the general fund. Right. Yeah, out of the general fund. So there's $258,000 that we don't need to spend on IT. Therefore, we can either reduce the debt that we're gonna issue, or we transfer it to road and bridge.
Or you can save it for IT projects next year. There is a
It's in our
third.
5-year plan.
But
Oh, it's in the budget. We need to move it, right? You move it, or it's saying in the IT budget.
you have a choice. Do you want to keep the same amount of debt or do you want to decrease the debt? That's part of the main thing. And if you're going to decrease the debt, that money will not be there for anybody to spend it. And so it's just y'all's choice.
So what's the treasurer's outlook on interest rates for raising the debt this time versus a year from now?
I don't have my crystal ball with me right now, but I project that interest rates will go down.
But this debt hasn't been issued, so we're in the current interest rate, so.
Yeah. 5% or something. A year from now, it could be 10 or 2.
I don't have a strong opinion one way or the other. I mean, it's,
Not a big one, so.
I mean, my preference is what I said, was reducing debt. The other preference, I don't have a problem with buying some road and bridge equipment, or I don't really have a problem with, I probably would rather keep it for IT for next year. It's IT money for IT for the following year.
Part of the comment also is, I'm unaware of a 5-year plan for IT. That doesn't mean there's not one. I'm just unaware of how much money IT is looking to spend in the next few years.
There's one under development.
I'm sure it'll exceed 258,000.
Yeah.
I don't have a motion.
I make a motion that we use the excess funds to reduce the amount of debt.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second to use the $258,547 of IT projects that have been approved to reduce the debt. That's the motion and the second. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. 1.24, consider, discuss, take appropriate action to approve a request for Kerr County pro rata distribution of proceeds from the tobacco settlement permanent trust fund. How much money are we going to split for that this time?
I'm sorry. This basically is an annual report that we complete every year based on the prior year's expenses, and we just turn it in. We've been getting about $35,000 from this, but we don't know how much it will be.
I move for approval.
We have a motion and a second to approve the distribution of the tobacco proceeds as presented.
It's request for the district.
Request for distribution. To approve the request. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 1.25. Well, Bruce, you need to come up. Everybody needs to know Bruce Motherall has given his retirement notice that will be departing the county on
21st.
March 21st. And how long has he been with us now?
So, not quite 15 years.
He's been an integral part of county government. He's taken us from the Stone Age to almost modern age.
Trying.
All his restraints would allow.
And through the whole process, become a very close friend.
Thank you.
You will be missed, friend.
Thank you very much.
You will be missed. Thank you.
All right.
Well, good day.
We already had one party, are we gonna do it again?
Well, this is the last commissioner's court meeting that he's going to be here, and I want to recognize him on you too.
That's right. My goodness. Yeah.
This has been an important cog in our leadership. So moving on, item 1.26, consider, discuss, take appropriate action regarding modifications needed for the Information Technology Department office space located in the courthouse.
Okay, this is something that's come out of forming a committee to look at office space and storage needs for the county. And clearly, even when we were back in the bond proposition stage, it was identified that IT was grossly crammed into a small little space. So as a result of getting together as a committee, we kind of looked at it, talked about it. And this is, if you will, a band-aid approach, but I think it's a very good first step for now. And the proposal is that, you know, and I have to acknowledge Bob Reeves and his cooperation to make this happen. He has agreed to give up the kind of the back half of his storage area. He's got a bunch of things that are being stored behind his offices, and a table, and he does some training back there, and so forth. But the idea is to extend the existing wall for the IT office straight across, and then they'll open that up with a little opening, doorway, whatever, not really a door, just an opening, so that the IT folks can get in between. And then to compensate Bob for his loss of space, the idea would be to give him the old treasurer's office down in the basement, so that he can still have a storage area, a meeting room, and so forth. So I greatly appreciate Bob's willingness to do this. He may be reluctant, but at least it's a big step towards helping the IT department. And Shane, his department will actually do the work. He's looked at it. His estimate for the cost is $700. And he has told me that he can cover it within his budget, at least for now. So I'd like to make a motion to approve the expenditure of up to $1,000, just in case, to modify the IT office and install a wall, extend a wall between the IT office and the tax office. Thank you.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. The floor is open for discussion.
I think this is probably makes sense, but I'm not going to vote for something until I know the full plan, what we're looking at doing.
We're working on the only spaces we have to work with, and it's a good plan. I think it's a good plan. I really do. But we got a whole lot of needs, and we have, depends on whether or not adult probation moves over to 550. If they do, then we're losing all our space over at 550. That will fill it up, I think, just about. And so then the only other open spot that we have is the treasurer's office, and there are other competing interests that would like to have purposes that they would put that office too. Sure.
Just not as valid. We've looked at that, and this is the best use of it, but
prioritizing that validity is this court's responsibility, not your committee's. That's why it's here. And we appreciate the recommendation. I just don't think that we're right to act on it until we know what the plan is.
And that's what I said again. I've got to see it. I've got to see the plan. Because
and I think
the Band-Aid is how we got to where we are. Yeah. And I'm not going to vote for more Band-Aids.
Right.
So.
I agree.
But we want to get it done.
Yeah.
Do a good job. Don't take this personally. We just need to know what we're going to tell these people that are on the needs list. What are we going to tell them? Okay. We got to have a plan.
then we'll tell the IT department that we're sorry.
No, that's not sorry. That's better.
No, it's not. It might still happen, but I agree.
That's a logical thing. We just need to figure out what happens with all the other pieces.
The other dominoes.
Well, that's fine. It's just, Bob Reeves is still contemplating moving his office. That will, be a $3 million cost. So that would probably have to be raised, whether it passes in a bond. We do have clarification that we can raise another bond, cover some things that failed in the last bond propositions, but a lot of that stuff is a lot further down the road.
But we need the plan.
Well, we'll committee to come back and bring us a plan. That's what we're going to look at. You've got a whole bunch of things on that list. And we're not going to be able to do all of them. You know that. So we need to know, this is priority number one. priority number 3, priority number 5. And we'll do what we can. Okay.
I thought this was a no-brainer, but that's okay.
It is a
We'll go
no-brainer.
back
This
to
has
the plan.
always been the plan. We've talked about this from day one. Isn't that right, Bruce? This is the way we planned it from the get-go. But we don't know what to do about the rest of the needs. And how do we balance it? Or do we
More
just say,
dominoes fall.
these have to wait until next year, 5 years, you're in the 5-year plan or 10-year plan, somewhere. But it's a good plan.
So far, the only other need,
But there's
you
only
know,
one
there
part
was
of
a
it.
request to have a conference room down in the basement, and that's nice to have, I don't disagree with it, it's just, you know, we don't have a need to do anything, with the county court of law and the jury room, that's been clarified, so it's gonna boil down to whether Bob really needs to move his office or not, and whether we can come up with the funding to do that.
You brought up the unfunded mandate for the jury room. For the public, I don't think the public understands exactly how that has been handled. We have the 2 large district courtrooms upstairs with large jury rooms. But our 2 district courts each share another county. One is Gillespie, one is Bandera, so they're not here all the time. And so what we've worked out is kind of the musical chairs things, 2 jury rooms, 3 courts, and it's working, and it's saving the taxpayers a ton of money.
That's right. It's working perfectly fine.
So we have a motion and a second. You can withdraw your motion if you want to, or we've already
I'll
had
leave it, take a vote.
Take a vote? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Huh? Okay.
Sorry, Bruce.
Okay, with that, we'll move on to the approval agenda. 2.1, budget amendments.
You have 7 budget adjustments for today, budget amendments today to consider. Most of these are line item transfers, or that we do have new revenue that came in to cover these, or the existing revenue is there to cover them. The second sheet here is all just to have, this is just kind of truing up what's left with the East Kerr County wastewater treatment plant and the grants that are remaining.
Is there a motion to approve the budget amendments as presented?
I'll make a motion to approve that.
And a second.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the budget amendments as presented. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. 2.2, pay the bills.
Yes, invoices for today's consideration amount to $863,868.69.
I move for approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to pay the bills as presented. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Late bills
There are not any.
and auditor reports.
Yes, we completed 3 internal audits this past time period, and they are for the district clerk, Justice of the Peace Precinct 2, and Justice of the Peace Precinct 4. We're asking that you accept the reports.
So moved.
Got a motion and a second to approve the auditor reports as presented. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Monthly reports.
Yes, for January 2024, Veteran Services Office, VSO Jennifer Sanchez. February 2024, Justice of the Peace, Judge Anthony French, Precinct 1, Judge J.R. Hahn, Precinct 2, Judge Kathy Mitchell, Precinct 3, Constable Kyle Snyder, Precinct 2, Paul Gonzalez, Precinct 3, Brad Ryder, Precinct 4. Environmental Health, Director Ashley Batters, Auditor's Office, Auditor Tanya Shelton, District Clerk's Office, District Clerk Dawn Lance. I move for approval.
Second. We got a motion and a second to approve the monthly reports as presented. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. 2.6, court orders.
Our court orders from our February 26th meeting, number 40492 through 40519, they all have to be in order and move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the court orders as presented. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Move on to the information agenda. 3.1, status reports from department heads. Gibbons.
Yes, sir. Good morning again. I just wanted to run a few things by the court, let y'all know of a meeting that we had with our advisory board committee for animal services. I believe it was this last Thursday. We talked about some different topics, and there was a few determinations made of some things that we're looking at doing, and I wanted to come to the court. I guess some of this stuff's probably gonna have to be agenda items, but I wanted to just give you all a heads up about it. And these, like I said, these were suggestions by the advisory board. One being, we want to do occasional Facebook posts looking for information about people who are dumping animals in front of our facility. We had a situation where we did that. We actually did not post it, but it was actually posted through Kerrville Pets Alive. I actually did figure out who did it. And I think that we talked about it be better going through us, but it was a successful thing to figure out who actually did that. So moving forward, we'd like to do that. That may be something that we need more discussion on, or needs to be an agenda item, but we would like for that to be something we do from now on. One of the other things that's been suggested on multiple occasions, taking owner-requested euthanasia as a service we provide. This has been something that we've talked about pretty much at every advisory board meeting for several years. It's been ongoing. Basically, the way we do right now, if you bring a dog or cat to us and you need to have the animal euthanized, we're going to look and see if there's a legitimate reason. Okay, we're not going to just euthanize an animal that comes through the door if it's perfectly healthy. So we're looking for vet recommendations. If they have a letter from a vet, we will do it. If they don't have anything, if it's obvious, I mean, this animal, a lot of times you can look at an animal and go, yes, that animal needs to be euthanized. It is miserable. It is suffering. Okay, so the only thing that we will actually euthanize is legitimate medical vet reasons, or if it's injured. One of the things that we also do is in the field, and we're not looking at changing this, but if my guys get out there and they have an animal that's so injured that it's determined right there this animal needs to be euthanized because it is suffering, we do that. But this is just for the people that come through the front door and want their animal euthanized that is sick, and so that's what we've been doing, okay? And we charge a $10 fee to do that if it's determined that we should. The proposal right now is, as far as I can tell, basically the same, but taking it off of our fee schedule. Still euthanizing if we determine that it's a legitimate reason, but not euthanizing anything else. I don't see a change. So my proposal is we just eliminate it entirely, because it's
eliminate it on the fee schedule.
Eliminate it on the fee schedule and then stop doing it. Basically, whenever somebody comes in, if you have an animal that needs to be euthanized, you have to take it to a vet or some other avenue. I think it's a good service, but to be honest with you, we're going to be talking about it again in a few months, and I don't want to talk about it anymore. It's really, there's no, I can't convince some people that we're doing the right thing with it. So I just think it's a service that we should just eliminate.
Well, it sounds like to me that what you're doing is the right thing. If people come in and this animal needs to be euthanized, it's much more humane for you to do it professionally. Whatever the fee is, that's up to you guys to determine what that fee ought to be. But to put that suffering animal in a position where they're going to go out and just throw it in a field and let it die, or lay it along the side of the road, I think that's inhumane.
I do too. But I also, we've reached a point where, you're not missing anything, sir. It's just, we're like, basically I have to go argue these points every time we meet, and I'm losing that argument.
Why don't we put this on the agenda? Put it on the agenda. Then KPA can come and do the.
Until you put down a course, you have not suffered. That was the hardest thing I've ever had to do.
So put this
Put
on
it on
the
the
agenda.
agenda so we have a discussion, because we really can't discuss this right now.
Right.
And I think it is a good discussion, and I can explain their logic, and I
I think I've just reached the point where I need the court to make the decision because I can't.
Well, these are policy decisions.
Right.
The first one you brought up, and I should give you my input quickly. If you want to trace the source of an animal that's been dumped at your facility, I think that's your operations. I don't think we need to approve that or not. If you decide you want to do a Facebook page, you can do a Facebook page, as far as I'm concerned. Now, this issue as to what our euthanasia policy is going to be for voluntary euthanasia, that's an important issue. And that's something this court, I think, needs to set the policy for animal services. That's what it is. I don't think that's an operations decision.
Okay. And so I'll put that on the next agenda. Then just an update here, and this is kind of a operational thing too. And this one I totally am for and totally in favor. We are currently picking up non-high-risk rabies carriers and traps. We've been doing it for years. These guys will drive all the way across the county to pick up an armadillo out in the middle of nowhere, which some people would consider that to be a nuisance. They dig, they root, things like that. But my proposal is we only pick up the high-risk rabies carriers, which are, of course, coyotes, fox, raccoons, skunks, and bats, but you're not going to trap that in traps. So, but we'll still get all of that. And of course, if you've got a sick or injured animal that you're seeing, we'll respond to that. But your general trap calls where people are calling in, I've got a trap possum, not responding to those anymore. That's something that they need to deal with. And I think that would save us a lot of time and honestly money not going out on those types of calls.
And then quick feedback. If you do it, you're going to have to enact a policy to penalize people that lie and they can come out and get out there, and it's not an injured animal. I'm just telling you that they will.
Oh, it's not a yellow.
Yeah.
And then there's one other thing.
Get it off your chest.
So this another right here. So our county order omits cats from the county order. Okay, basically says that you cannot let your dog or cat roam free, run free, unrestrained, but our order removed cats from that. So it is not illegal for your cat in the county to run loose. And I know it sounds silly because who's going to keep their cat contained? But it can be a tool to use if you need it in nuisance situations. It is not illegal for your cat to run loose, so we are proposing, it was suggested that we stop picking up cats in traps. Still have people, if they trap a cat, bring it to us. But for our guys to stop picking up trap cats, because it is not illegal. They're all nuisance conditions is what basically the reason people trap. And it's been suggested that we no longer pick up cats, but we'll still take them.
That's a policy issue. Bring it to us.
I think that was it.
I think that's nothing
I have a couple things I'd like to.
I don't think we'll bring this up. I'll make a liaison, make a comment about Facebook.
Kelly.
I just wanted to let everybody know that the policy that we did for the dead animal pickup, there was some feedback in the paper, and then I had a lady that emailed me, and I think 2 out of the 3 were like, we've changed policy. Well, number one, we never had a policy, but we haven't changed on what we pick up. It's the same schedule. We don't go on to private property. If an animal gets hit by a vehicle and is, in the road or off in that drainage area, in that right-of-way area that Road and Bridge is responsible for, that we will come and pick up those animals. So nothing has changed. We never had a policy with a court order behind it. And I also wanted the court to understand, how we've been operating all this time. But we have not changed anything. I think some people think that we've always picked up in your backyard and that, but we have not. And so I wanted to make sure that the public knew that is basically that policy pretty much is how we've always operated.
And thank you, Kelly. There's a distinction between animal services and what their policies are,
Yes.
and what Bridges' policies.
Yes,
I
sir.
appreciate the fact you're bringing that to the public's attention.
Yes.
You're doing the same thing you've always been doing.
Mm-hmm.
We're having to make some decisions on these animals.
Yes, sir. And one lady had said, well, what about, the animals that might possibly be rabid? I said, well, that has never changed either. If it is an animal that, like a skunk or a raccoon and that, I said, you would call our animal services department. And I said, and I don't believe that's changed at all. So she was very nice. I know that there was some letters to the editor, and people were like, Road and Bridge changed everything, and we haven't. We actually have a policy now that has a court order behind it, is all that happened. So,
Well, keep your relationship with animal services. We like the way y'all work together.
we do. Thank you.
Any other department heads? Okay, elected officials. Got one. Got a Baker.
Good morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners. For those who don't know, I'm Ian Call. I'm the Kerr County Clerk. I just want to go over a couple things as it pertains to the election we just had. First off, I want to, from the bottom of my heart, extend the largest thank you I can to not only my staff, who this would have been their first full-blown election that they've handled, as well as the tax office. They provided throughout this whole process and continuing to provide an insane amount of help to us. It's been wonderful. Sheriff's office, who was there with us that night as well. IT, who was there with us that night as well. And any and all election judges and election clerks that assisted throughout the entire process. It was, in my opinion, very, very smooth for the situation we're in, and a new office taking over. Moving from that, I did want to discuss a little bit about what Commissioner Pace has mentioned this morning with 312, Precinct 312 there at the Zion Lutheran Church, or the Zion Church, my apologies.
I'm sorry, say that again?
I want to talk on the issue that we had at Precinct 312, that voting location.
Okay.
So that morning, when I got a call about there being an issue with the scanner, I promptly went over there, and what was determined was the ballot, the barcode on the ballots, was not being properly read by the scanner. What the two judges there did, one from both parties, used appropriately the emergency ballot box that we have specifically for situations like this. I went, we replaced the scanner, we did some diagnostics on it, replaced it, and the issue persisted with the second scanner. So it did not as much, but it was persistent, which leads me to believe that it was an issue truly with the paper ballots themselves, the barcodes not being able to be read. That being said, from my understanding, I was there about an hour and a half that morning. Both judges knew, as well as all the clerks that were there, knew not to tell anyone that they could only vote electronic during this process. Folks were given the opportunity to, those specifically while we were replacing the machine while it was down, were given the opportunity to, hey, if you want, we can go ahead and take the appropriate action to get you set up to vote electronically if you do not want to wait while we're doing this. That being said, everyone has to be offered both paper ballot and the possibility of casting an electronic vote as well. They have to be offered that at the time of signing in, you could call it.
Is that in the election code where it says they have to be offered both?
Yes, sir, I believe so. Simply because
Double check that. I'd like to see that.
Yes, sir. Simply because we're offering both, so they need to be made aware that they have the ability to do it. Beyond that, I did not see any issues that persisted. Once we got that scanner swapped out, there was one or two that happened, and again, they went to the emergency ballot box that's attached to that box, and we're scanning at the end of the night. So everyone's vote counted. There was no, in my opinion, failure of the system, simply because the machine let us know, hey, I can't cast this, I see an issue with it. That doesn't come off as a failure to me. It seems like it's a good safety net. Moving through that, we were able to get our preliminary results in by about 11 o'clock. I was very happy with that, getting through 20 precincts in about, let's see, that's 4 hours from polls closing at 7. Our manual count to compare against our scan count started this past Friday the 8th at 3 o'clock. We are well on our way on that, and we hope to finish it. We have until March 21st, I believe, but we should be done with that within the week. And then the ballot board meets tomorrow to go over the remaining ballots that came in by mail that met the mandated deadline that are able to be accepted. So we're getting through it, and again, I just want to stress I'm very happy with how this turned out. The fact that we were able to get out when we did, we did not have to stay until the AMs. It was very nice. And again, I couldn't have done that couldn't have been accomplished without my staff, without the tax office, without the assistance that we get from IT, the sheriff's office, all of that. So that was it. Thank you.
Well, we want to commend you for running a very excellent first election.
Thank you. Again,
and I agree with that. I mean, I was particularly appreciative of the phone call we had, and you were right on it. So.
Oh yeah, I was there for quite a while.
I appreciate how quickly you responded and got it resolved.
Yes, I'm very happy. Thank you.
Any other elected officials? Okay, 3.3, liaison persons.
The comment on something Greg says to kind of clarify a little bit about Facebook posts. Previous situation, something was posted not by the county, and comments started coming in, and comments started causing some issues, not being real accurate. And my recommendation was that the committee, like Greg agrees, that it's much better for the county to post it and probably turn off comments and have them call, because people misinterpret things on Facebook frequently and start writing comments, and it's not at all appropriate. So to me, it's much better for the county to take the post if we need information, give a phone number, and turn off comments. And that's kind of how that came up.
Agree with that.
And that would be the detail of operations.
Yeah.
Good.
I want to say something. I want to recognize Lisa Walters. Commissioner Blue and I started talking about doing an employee spotlight, and we kind of got it off the ground and threw it to Lisa, and she's just taken it and run with it. I think everybody appreciates what she's been doing with that. How many have we done so far?
3.
3? Well, you've done an excellent job with that. I just wanted everybody to recognize you.
Well, I'd also like to say Lisa's done a lot for the Road and Bridge Department to get the word out on things, and it has really reduced a lot of our phone calls and that from the public, so she's done a lot for us.
Well,
We appreciate her.
As you know, I am greeted by many people on the street, some warmly, some not. But I will tell you, to a person, I have had received nothing but great compliments on the board, our public relations officer. Lisa, thank you. Any other comments?
Yeah, I just kind of want to inform the public that it's been a long time, but we're going to have an aggregate production operations community advisory council meeting this Wednesday night, starting at 6 p.m. Hill Country Youth Event Center. We're going to hear from two of our aggregate producers on the progress they have made on voluntary best management practices. That'll be from RA Materials and Mark Marietta. There'll be an update on TRAM and the APO industry collaborative efforts, and also a little bit of a legislative and regulatory update. So I look forward to that. It's been quite a while since we had an APO meeting, so we'll see how it goes. The only other thing, I attended a CARPA meeting with the VFDs. Primary focus of the meeting was on the eclipse planning and preparation. I think as Doug pointed out, another meeting on the 20th to finalize everything. And then, of course, there was a lot of discussion about the new radio system and channel setup in particular. So that's all I got.
Anything? Okay. Then we're going to take a 5-minute break, and we're going to reconvene in executive session. It is now 11:28. 12:31, we're coming out of executive session, and the next item on the agenda is 5.1. Action as may be required on matters discussed in executive session. First one we talked about was 4.2D, which was to consider and discuss taking appropriate action on a request to hire a temporary part-time person up to 160 hours to cover for an employee due to an unforeseen medical emergency.
I make a motion to approve the request.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second to approve the request as presented, and we did hear from Judge McGuire on that. And that would authorize him to
Work with HR and
work with HR.
temporary and do a budget amendment.
Any other discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. And then 4.2A, consider and discuss and take appropriate action to approve SB 22 supplements for the assistant county attorneys and investigator in the county attorney's office to begin the first full pay period after receipt of the grant funds.
I move for approval.
Got a motion and a second to approve the request as presented. Any discussion?
Hold on that one, is that specific enough to keep in our record?
You will be getting a budget adjustment, once the funds come in to be paid out, so you'll have, and if you want me to read it into the record so you have an order, I can do that for
I don't think
the.
we need to do that.
No, we don't need- I just want to make sure.
This is a state supplement.
Yes, sir.
Okay? And so, for the public that's listening, if you're still out there, this is the state actually sending us the money to perform our buying portions. But I think you just received the money, and you come to us asking us to approve your receipt of the money and allocation for these purposes.
Yes, sir. And you'll get a budget adjustment
And
at a later time.
And that's when we approve the actual amounts for the various
Yes, sir.
individuals.
Good.
Okay, so with that, we have a motion
Yes.
and a second. So those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous.
Thank you.
There being no other business before the court, we are adjourned.